Hola fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class DK-2 Guard from the Transformers Legacy line from Hasbro. So this is kind of a Generation Selects, even though it doesn't really say Generation Selects on it anymore. They're kind of putting it under the Legacy label. But this is basically a black and red repaint of Ironhide, the Earthrise Ironhide, which is in itself a remold of the Siege Ironhide, so we're getting some use out of that mold. But basically the DK-2 comes from the diaclone designation, because this was the original color scheme for the toy back during the diaclone days before we brought it over here, turned it red, and called it Ironhide. So because they don't have C's in Japan, DK is for diaclone. He was number 2, and his name was just Guard. So this is just a diaclone reference. We will go ahead and open this up here so we can take a look inside. And there he is in all of his black, red, and gold glory. It is just a repaint of Ironhide. So if you never got a hold of Earthrise Ironhide because he was part of that 2-pack that was an Amazon exclusive, this is at least a way for you to get the mold, even though it's not quite the right color scheme, but still looks pretty cool. You can see also they're going with the plasticless packaging here, so everything is just cardboard, and then these little, like, twine ties, I guess they technically are, and then the instructions should be here in the back. So if we can get this tray out of the way, and there you go, there are instructions inside. So I'm going to go ahead, get this guy all out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. So here is Guard out of the packaging. He's looking very sleek. I really like this color scheme quite a bit. So you can see he comes with the same 2 accessories as Ironhide. He's got this giant piece here that you can either kind of attach to the arm as like a riot shield, or if you want, you can go ahead and connect it onto the back. I think that really gets in the way because it is just a massive piece there to hang all the way down to his knees, basically. I usually just end up putting it off to the side. You can also kind of do like a battle station of sorts, kind of like the original G1 toy did. If you play around with this and just kind of put the gun somewhere on here, you can kind of peg it onto the side. So we'll go ahead and take it out of his hand. It's very simple, done in black plastic and then just painted silver. But you can kind of take this and kind of peg it on here, something like that, and kind of somewhat simulate the battle station from the original G1 toy. You can also kind of slide this back to reveal these thrusters, which could be thrusters, they could be guns, whatever you'd like to use them as. You do have that option as well. So we'll just put all of this off to the side for the moment. But taking a closer look at the figure, he does look good. I think they did a nice job with him. It is exactly the same mold, so there's not really any surprises here, but the paint applications look good. Let me try to angle him up a little bit so you can see the eyes. He's got really nice blue paint there for the eyes, and I know that his crest kind of casts a lot of shadow. But there you go, maybe a little bit there. You can kind of see he's got really nice blue paint for the eyes, which I think looks really good with the red face, and then the black helmet all really looks quite sharp. As you can see, a lot of my lights are showing up because it's just got that piece of clear plastic there. He's got a very reflective chest because that's kind of the windshield for the car, or the van rather. But yeah, head can move from side to side. Don't really have a lot of front to back tilt, if any, honestly. Sometimes I feel like it is, but it's not really. Don't really have a lot of side to side either, so it's pretty much just the swivel side to side. You kind of have a little bit of movement here in the shoulder actually connected to the torso, but then you have a full hinge here in the actual shoulder of the arm, and you have a swivel there, you have a bicep swivel, you have 90 degrees there in the elbow. You do have a wrist swivel as well. It's very tight, but it is there. You have a waist swivel. You do have a really far front kick, really far back kick, kick all the way out to the side, so really about as much articulation in the hip as you could want. You do have a thigh swivel as well, 90 degrees there in the knee, and then you do have some ankle tilt, of course, as that's pretty much become standard at this point. But yeah, he looks good. It's a nice repaint. Like I said, I really like the blue eyes. I think they really pop, especially set against the black and red that pretty much everything else is. A little bit of gold down here on the shins, but that's mostly for the vehicle mode. You'll see that in a little bit. You have some connector ports all around, so you can peg in whatever you'd like in terms of target masters, weaponizers, anything from the previous lines, because again, this guy was originally from Earthrise, and they've kind of kept that play pattern going. The newer Legacy stuff doesn't have as much in the way of the connector ports, but they do still carry that play pattern over. But yeah, he's pretty cool. I like him a lot. Let's go ahead, let's get into his transformation. So if you've handled the original Ironhide, transformation is exactly the same because there's really nothing different with this mold. It's purely aesthetics. But we'll go ahead and get into it. So we will open up the front windshield / chest area and go ahead and rotate the head inside. You're going to come around to the back and flip down what will become the front fender of the vehicle. You're going to kind of swivel the arms up here like so. And then you're going to peg them into each other like that right there at the forearm. You're going to kind of pull this away from the body, grabbing on right about here. So you'll hear a little bit of a snap. Then you can swivel this around 180 degrees, and then you can pop it back in. Then you can fold the front fender back into place, and you can see the front of the van is taking shape. You're going to come down here to the legs, bring them down a little bit just to get some clearance. You kind of have to take this panel and put it at about a 45-degree angle like that, so that you have enough room to pop off what is the shins of the robot and flip that panel all the way around. If you have tilted the ankles, make sure that they are straight. You're going to flip this up and do the same on this side. Then you can kind of bring these legs together and peg them like so. This is going to come down and sit about here, and then you're going to kind of just bring this up to fill in that space, and this will kind of peg into the sides of the shoulders, and then these panels are going to close up like so. You kind of want to leave the window out a little bit, the windshield, because you're going to run into some problems if you don't. But you can see we pretty much have the entire van formed up here, looking very much like the original Siege Ironhide, because it's pretty much is. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and bring this in. If you want, you can store the weapon inside here. There's a little peg right here, and you can kind of bring this in and peg that there if you'd like to store the weapon inside the van. Otherwise, you can leave it out, and we can peg it into the top of the van when we're done, so I'm just going to do that. You're going to kind of open these up. Now, the directions tell you to open them all the way up, but I find when you do that, this kind of large chunk here for the hinge gets in the way. So I try to leave them not all the way like straight down in the position that they'll be in, but just a little bit out to the side just for some clearance. If you do have these extended out, you're going to have to push them back in because they have that giant peg right there has to rest in there. And then you can see you have 4 peg holes otherwise, and that is for these 4 pegs right here. So this is just going to drop down, peg into place, and then you can push all these windows down where they're supposed to go, and then we can finally close up the windshield. And there we have our van. So like I said, if you decided to leave the gun out, you can go ahead and peg that in up top if you'd like. But there you go. You have your Guard Diaclone van mode. I do really like this paint here. It's very reminiscent of the original Diaclone line for that figure. And it's not stickers, it's all paint, which is really, really nice. You have the Autobot symbol on the top. I kind of would have liked one down here maybe, but not a big deal. Some nice silver paint here on the front. Rolls pretty well. I will say that it does still have the giant feet hanging off the back. That was something the original Ironhide had as a problem as well. I feel like with the black, it all kind of blends in a little bit better, so it's not as ridiculously noticeable. But I still wish when they had originally done this retool that they had come up with some piece that was connected to this top section that could have covered the feet and make this just look a little bit more uniform, and then you could have just kind of took this off and that could have folded up underneath or something like that. I understand that it couldn't really be part of the robot mode, but that would have been fine. Since you have this giant piece you're kind of taking off and putting off to the side anyway, you could have done something to maybe cover those feet or at least make it look a little bit more like it's meant to be there instead of just giant feet hanging off the back. But like I said, since the overall color scheme here is black, they blend in a little bit more for this guy than they did with the original Ironhide, because you had different shades of red back then. So this one's a little bit better. I will also say the shoulder parts right here that were also black on Ironhide and looked very out of place, surrounded by red or clear translucent plastic. Now it's a little bit more uniform, so I think that works a little bit better on this one as well. So, you know, having everything black just makes everything really fit a little bit better and definitely look a little bit more uniform. But yeah, otherwise, it's exactly Ironhide from Earthrise. Nothing new, just a different paint scheme. But it's a good paint scheme. I think it looks pretty great. So I think Guard is pretty great. I mean, yes, there's no surprises here. They didn't do any retools. They didn't do any remolding. It's just a repaint of Earthrise Ironhide. But it's a nice repaint, and it's an homage to the original Diaclone line in Japan, which of course was the inspiration for Transformers here in America. And also, this is kind of an easy way to finally get a hold of this mold, because previously it was Ironhide in a 2-pack with Prowl, which was an Amazon exclusive, or it was Ratchet in a 2-pack with the Paradon Medic, which was an Amazon exclusive, and a lot of people had trouble finding those. So if you finally want to get a hold of this mold in a fairly easy way, this is the way to do it. It's a fan channel exclusive, so all your online retailers, BBTS, Entertainment Earth, Hasbro Pulse, GameStop, things like that, they may end up showing up in GameStop stores. I'm not 100% sure about that, but definitely on their website. So if you just want a nice repaint of Ironhide, or maybe just to finally get a hold of this mold in the first place, I definitely recommend picking this one up and adding it to your collection. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.